At 04:27 hours in the freezing dark of the North Atlantic. A sonar ping breaks the silence, sharp, sudden, and unmistakable. Something's out there, deep underwater. A shadow moves. Silent. Deadly. Based on multiple naval reports from late 2024 and early 2025. This is the kind of scenario that military planners fear. A Yasen-class Russian submarine, like the newly deployed Arkhangelsk, quietly slipping through NATO-monitored waters, close to where U.S. carrier strike groups operate. Above the surface, a fleet moves east. Let's say it's the USS Gerald R. Forward Strike Group, routine mission, standard patrol until it's not. The detection is made PA. The site and aircraft scramble. Sonar buoys hit the water. Destroyers spread formation. The hunt begins. In war rooms and analyst briefings, the questions write themselves. How close could a Yasen sub get before being detected? Could it lock onto a carrier group without anyone knowing, and more importantly, is it already happening? Because Russia's undersea fleet isn't just expanding, it's evolving. While their surface navy struggles, their subs are built to stalk, strike and vanish. Encounters like this may not make the headlines, but to naval intelligence communities on both sides, they're becoming uncomfortably real. And if one sub really did get that close to the world's most advanced aircraft carrier, well, that's not just bold. That's a big mistake. So what would NATO be facing in a scenario like this? Well, let's break it down. The Yasen-class submarine, like the Arkhangelsk, which officially entered service with the Russian Northern Fleet in late 2024, isn't just another piece of hardware. It's the sharpest blade in Russia's underwater arsenal. Built under Project 885M, this nuclear-powered attack sub is designed to do one thing better than anybody else and anything else: destroy surface fleets without ever being seen. It runs on a single OK-650 reactor, giving it near limitless underwater endurance. But what makes it really dangerous is its stealth. The hull is coated with anechoic tiles, designed to absorb active sonar. Its propellers engineered for near-silent operation, and its hull shape allows it to slip beneath thermal layers, which are natural sonar blind zones in the ocean. Western analysts believe it may rival the U.S. Navy's Virginia-class subs in silence, something few other navies have ever achieved. Then there's firepower. The Yasen-class can carry up to 40 cruise missiles, including Caliber for land and sea targets, Onyx, which are supersonic anti-ship, and possibly even hypersonic zircon, capable of Mach 9 speeds and near-impossible intercept. A weapon like that, launched from underwater, turns the deep ocean into a first-strike platform, without warning. And it's not a one-off. Russia currently operates at least 4 Yasen-class subs with more under construction. They are part of a broader shift, investing heavily in underwater dominance as a counter to NATO's surface superiority. But why? Because Russia's surface fleet is aging, with ships like the Admiral Kuznetsov often out of action. So instead of matching the U.S. carrier for carrier, Moscow is fielding a stealth-first strategy. Invisible, nuclear-armed predators roaming under the Jutski Gap. And speaking of that, the G Gap, the choke point between Greenland, Iceland and the UK is a critical defense line. If Russian submarines can make it through undetected, NATO's entire Atlantic logistics chain becomes vulnerable. This is why every possible incursion, real or simulated, triggers a serious military response. Because if one sub gets through, what happens when 6 do? This isn't Cold War nostalgia. This is today's underwater reality. Scenarios involving Russian Yasen-class submarines operating near NATO carrier groups aren't just military fiction. They are what naval planners train for, constantly. That's why NATO treats every sonar anomaly in the North Atlantic with serious urgency. If a Yasen-class submarine, like the Arkhangelsk, were detected while operating near the Guyuk Gap, the response would be immediate and layered. The first tool in the toolbox, the PA Poseidon, America's flying submarine hunter. This aircraft carries advanced magnetic anomaly detectors, thermal sensors, radar, and most importantly, these are small floating sonar pods dropped in patterns to cover vast sections of ocean. They listen for abnormal acoustic signatures, anything that doesn't belong in the underwater environment. Detection doesn't stay secret for long. NATO destroyers would then break formation and expand their sonar net. Norwegian and British frigates, often operating in the region, would move in to support. Dutch or Canadian helicopters might deploy from support vessels, dipping active sonar into the sea. It's called AS2, anti-submarine warfare. And today it's part machine learning, part intuition, and all pressure. Because modern attack submarines, like the Yasen-class, are not easy to find. No periscope, no bubbles, no surface trace, just a needle in an acoustic haystack that's actively hiding. Over the past few years, NATO has stepped up its anti-submarine capabilities dramatically. Countries like Sweden, the UK, and France now share sonar profiles in real time, tracking data. Joint exercises simulate complex underwater scenarios, including the simulated detection of stealth subs in Arctic conditions. In early 2025, naval forces participated in exercises like Nordic Edge, focusing on underwater threats near the Guyuk Gap. While no confirmed confrontation with Russian submarines occurred, military analysts say these drills are designed for exactly that kind of threat. So if a sub like the Arkhangelsk were to operate in these waters during the live exercise, it wouldn't find an easy path in. It would find a kill box, sonar from above, drones from orbit, helicopters hovering, torpedoes ready but not fired. And the message would be, "We see you." And in this underwater chess match, that's the first and sometimes the final move. Now let's imagine this. It's 03, 30 hours somewhere north of the Faroe Islands. The ocean is black, the air is frozen, and beneath the waves, 300 meters down, a nuclear-powered Russian submarine creeps forward. This isn't a Hollywood movie. It's the kind of real-world scenario that NATO trains for regularly. Let's say it's the Arkhangelsk, one of Russia's newest Yasen-class subs. It's running silent, passive sonar only, and suddenly contact. 4 escorts, 1 large vessel. That's a U.S. carrier strike group. In this simulated confrontation, the sub's crew begins calculating. No need to surface, no comms, just a targeting solution locked in silently. On paper, they've just scored a kill on the world's most advanced warship. But there's a catch. The strike group is not flying blind. Above, the U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer like, let's say the USS Gravely, is already on edge. Its sonar operators pick up a faint anomaly. Too faint for confirmation, but too sharp to ignore. The response is automatic ASW. Helicopters lift off from the carrier's deck. They drop dipping sonar arrays into the sea, sweeping for subsurface targets. Poseidon aircraft tighten their calculated patrol radius, deploying a precise net of sonobuoys. Electronic warfare systems across multiple ships systematically begin scanning for digital emissions, revealing tiny giveaways. This represents a classic NATO move, a multi-layered response specifically designed to isolate and pin any sub-threat. For the hypothetical sub-commander, conditions become very real very fast. A pair of MH-60R Seahawks approach, torpedoes armed but maintaining fire discipline. They drop sonar decoys and flood the area with high-frequency pings. Translation: we know you are here. In a real conflict, this would be the point of no return. One misread sonar ping, one launch interpreted as hostile, and escalation becomes inevitable. But in this simulated scenario, the Russian sub begins a quiet retreat. No missiles fired, no hostilities, just pressure and withdrawal. To naval analysts, this is not just war gaming. It is a reminder that modern naval confrontations can unfold silently, without warning, and end before the public even knows they happened. And it also proves something else. Submarines like the Yasen-class can get close. Dangerously close, but when they do, they will find that NATO is ready, watching, and willing to respond without blinking. Encounters like these may never make the news, but rest assured, underneath the waves, they are happening more than we think. The silent threat from below is not the only danger in modern naval conflict. Because in 2025, war does not just start with torpedoes. It might start with a keyboard. Just weeks after the Arkhangelsk joined the Russian Northern Fleet, Ukrainian cyber teams made global headlines. They breached Russian military systems and leaked sensitive data tied to the Bore, a class submarine Nazbojarsky. We are talking blueprints, patrol routes, and acoustic profiles. That is the kind of intel that can expose even a nuclear-powered ghost ship. Analysts believe that this breach could have implications far beyond a single ship. Yasen-class and Bore-class subs share similar command and control architecture. If one can be hacked, well, what about the rest? In a real-world crisis, that could mean a stealth submarine being tracked, not by sonar but by software. Every movement, every decision shadowed remotely. Suddenly, undersea warfare is not just about engines and torpedoes. It is about firewalls, exploits, and digital traps. And it is not just NATO and Russia in the ring here, either. In response to increasing cyber and subsurface tensions, Russia and China conducted joint naval exercises in the Sea of Japan. Their mission was to simulate the detection and the neutralization of a hostile foreign submarine. It was a signal, clear and public. Meanwhile, Western powers were not idle. Though not officially confirmed, multiple media outlets reported the sudden deployment of 2 U.S. Ohio-class submarines, each armed with over 150 Tomahawk cruise missiles, to undisclosed locations. A quiet move, but a loud message. We are watching too. This emerging battlefield where sonar meets servers is what military planners now call hybrid undersea conflict. It blends stealth technology, cyber tools, and old-school brinkmanship. And the line between training and tension is thinner than ever. To understand just how close things can get at sea, you do not have to imagine it. You can look back. March 21st, 1984, night falls over the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. aircraft carrier USS Kitty Hawk is cruising at full speed off Japan's coast. Unseen below, a Soviet submarine K-314. At 3 a.m. without warning, the sub surfaces directly in front of the carrier's bow. There is no time to avoid it. Collision. K-314 is torn through its sail and periscope. The Giddy Hawk is scraped but afloat. No casualties, no torpedoes fired. But here is the chilling fact. The K-314 was armed with nuclear weapons. Today's subs are faster, stealthier, and deadlier. But they still operate in the same shadowy waters, testing limits, tracking targets, and sometimes getting way too close. So when Western navies take a sonar ping seriously, they are not overreacting. They have seen what happens when the invisible becomes unavoidable. And in the age of hypersonic missiles and cyber attacks, the risks are even higher. If submarines can now sneak past sonar, launch hypersonic missiles, and operate with digital silence, is the ocean still a safe place for global power balance? Or is it becoming the most dangerous front in modern warfare? What are your thoughts on this? Are these underwater confrontations just strategic posturing, or do they make the world genuinely more unstable?